I'm recording this now.
Yeah,
So
for
here's
posterity's sake.
Yeah, no. So we're gonna start, right?
Provided that, like, after we try this, it doesn't go straight on YouTube.
Oh, it's gonna go straight on to
straight
YouTube.
on YouTube.
No
yeah.
editing whatsoever.
No editing, no screening.
Exactly.
No making sure I don't say anything.
For sure.
Flagrantly offensive.
No,
or
everything
racist.
is gonna be offensive
Yeah.
because it's offensive.
Let's to Cobra Starship.
That was the best. Oh my god! All right, so we're sitting eating dinner, and we were like gonna turn on the radio or turn on music during dinner. All right, and Nick's dad is like, hit number 3 because he wants to listen to the radio, and Nick just like goes over and he just like turns on Cobra Starship, and it's just like, and he turns up really really loud, and then what was it later? Your dad finally got a
switched
hold
it
of
to
the,
some sort of like 16th century like lute music.
Oh my god, he switched it to that, and then he was like, what? He said, do you want to listen to classical or something?
Yeah.
And Nick's response is just, no, I want to listen to Cobra Starship.
Yeah, we didn't get to though. Oh,
No.
not after that.
No, not at all.
Yeah, so that
Well.
was that. Yeah. On that note.
On that note, let's segue into what we were actually wanting to talk about.
Yeah, which has nothing to do with it, so it's a perfect segue. It's the best segue
As
ever.
LA Noire has
LA
no
Noire.
music by Cobra Starship.
Not to my knowledge. Maybe it'll come in the Rockstar download pack.
It'll be in the DLC that they're
Probably
selling
no.
for 800 points.
Yeah,
Right.
right up there with all the Billie Holiday and everything else.
All right, so yes, there are spoilers in this because we're going to discuss things
Pretty
about
much
the game.
everything
Yeah,
LA Noire
exactly.
related. So if you haven't finished the game, or you're just going through it now, or even if you finished and you don't want to know about like different playthroughs or different scenarios that can come up, like if you have a second playthrough in mind or a perfect playthrough in mind or anything like that,
don't listen to this.
don't listen to this unless you're okay with that.
We're talking about all that stuff.
Just know that anything and everything LA Noire related could be discussed here, and I think that encompassses everything.
And
I
I think
hope.
we also might spoil a couple other games.
Maybe we'll
that
try
we end up
not
talking
to.
about.
Like I've already accidentally spoiled Red Dead's ending to at least 4 or 5 people, and I haven't even finished the game.
You
So
haven't even played the game.
haven't even played the game. So sort that one out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Snape kills Dumbledore.
Exactly.
You get the idea. We'll try to avoid those things, but yeah.
Anyway, so the topic.
Yeah, LA Noire. Is it a good game? I mean, that's a good place to start, I guess. I mean, critical acclaim across the board. Go on Metacritic, go on GameFAQs, whatever venue you want. It's probably in the low 90s or something like that. If you want to quantify it or something,
as they are wont to do.
as they are wont to do. Us hipsters, we don't apply labels or numbers. No. But yeah,
they apply only numbers.
Yeah, but if I had to give it a number, yeah, it's
hate
definitely like, it's a 9. It's probably not a 10, but that's something I can, touch on later. I assume you thought it was good.
Right, but I think overall, if of people who've played Rockstar games and people who have are sort of into the whole noir sort of genre, I'm pretty sure the majority of those type of people were very taken with the game and enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I think the point we're trying to make is it actually more of a game or more of like an experience / kind of
Interactive.
interactive sort of
Video, essentially.
It's, I guess, sort of an interactive movie.
Yeah.
Although it's not a movie, and it's clearly more closer to a game.
Yeah. There is some level of skill that will be required
Exactly.
by the player in order to complete the game, in theory. But that's what's kind of interesting, is that if you look back at old Rockstar reports, they actually considered having multiple difficulty levels for a while, and what actually happened with the game is that they simply decided during an action sequence, you botch it enough, the game will pop up a warning and say, hey, we noticed that you're not doing that well.
You're sucking pretty bad at this right now.
You want to skip this?
Yeah.
And additionally, if you're doing really poorly with them over the course of the game, you could just go to the menu and skip all of them. Yeah, it's entirely impossible. It's entirely possible, to have all of that stuff, gone. You can skip all of it.
And something that I was thinking about in terms of like the difficulty of games, especially, Rockstar's been pretty good at just having the one difficulty, and it's been pretty good for everyone who wants to play. It's not too hard or it's not too easy. But something that I noticed in terms of difficulty when you're playing a game that doesn't really involve all action, like LA Noire, which has lots of interrogation and detective work that isn't really
clue finding
right.
ad infinitum, yes.
which is probably just going to be hard on its own, but it's not really controlled by the difficulty of the game. One example that I was thinking of was Tomb Raider Underworld, which is a puzzle platformer with some combat and shooting aspects in it.
Right.
And the difficulty makes that combat harder, but it doesn't really make that platforming harder. And so, I mean, my worry is with LA Noire, if it was to have a harder difficulty, it would just make the combat harder, wouldn't it?
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you want to make it harder in terms of case-wise, you're going to have to completely revamp
rewrite the
entire thing, or you're just going to have to simply, be more punishing in terms of, the interviews. Maybe there are less questions or less clues or things like that. Or maybe when you fail a case, you actually have to replay it.
Right.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. The only thing that would become more difficult would be the action, because you're not going to rewrite all the cases, I think. That would make things more difficult. Although, to be fair, you can. I didn't do it. I don't think you did it. You can go into the menu and you can turn off the vibration when you walk over a clue.
Yeah.
You can turn off the music so you don't know when you've collected all of them. You can turn off all that.
Yeah, it was
all
pretty
the clue finding stuff if you want to. Yeah.
It would have made it a lot harder, I think, if you didn't have any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would want to. I mean, you would end up having to go around it just like
I want an authentic experience.
If the authentic experience is walking around a room and rapidly pressing A to see if you
stumbling.
find an item.
It's like Luigi's Mansion when you're trying to find coins and everything, and you're just mashing the A button and you're just humping every piece of furniture in the house.
Exactly.
It's just you kind of stumbling around the house in LA Noire, just grabbing at everything.
That's covered in blood or not.
Yeah. You know what would make the game hard is if all of the irrelevant clues, you had no idea that they were irrelevant. You pick up the cigarette box and he goes, if I was a smarter detective, maybe, or he'll pick up like the laundry detergent and he'll go, I don't see how this fits into everything. What if that didn't happen?
Yeah.
What if you had no idea what was relevant and what was not? And they're like, how do you know I did it? And you pull out that beer bottle you find all the goddamn time in the game, and you're like, this is yours.
We have the fingerprints to match.
Yeah, we have the fingerprints, except mine are on it too, because I don't wear gloves at all.
I touch
everything. Like, by the end of the game, your hands must be on like 8 or 9 murder weapons.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
We were talking about this earlier with in one of the first cases, you find the knife in one of the garbage cans,
or the gun on patrol,
and you straight up just grab it, and it's like, all right, now you're the murderer.
Yeah, exactly.
Way to go, Cole.
It's like it's astounding that later on in the game they're trying to come up with some elaborate scenario to make the Cole the fall guy for. He's touched all these things. Just go pick one of them.
Exactly.
Convict him. Done.
He's murdered how many people according to all of this evidence, and you get him for
adultery charges. We're bringing you up on adultery charges. Why not murder?
Why not murder 8 times?
Yeah. I mean, you're just gonna put him in prison with all the other people you falsely accused of crimes.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Well, you get to the interrogation sequences, and the guy's like, your captain says, we have all of this evidence that proves that so and so is guilty, and it's like, same evidence proves that Cole's guilty.
Yeah, exactly. Cole's equally culpable.
Exactly.
So. But yeah, long story short, it's a good game, but I do question a lot of the time if it's really a game. And it's similar to Indigo Prophecy or Heavy Rain, and sort of the same sort of vein, and whether or not it's a game, people are asking the same sorts of questions. It's a great story though, if anything else. What's interesting that you brought up, for a minor sidetrack, and you brought up how Rockstar people are going to be more into this. I would question if some of the people that are used to GTA, especially some of the more free-roaming, vandal, vigilante sort of types, are hopefully not buying the game. But if they're buying the game, they're just utterly frustrated. Detective work, I can't make shameless accusations. I can't hit people with my car. Hitting people with your car is a real task in this game. You can do it. It disturbs me that people spend enough time to figure it out, but you can actually hit pedestrians if you want.
It's pretty hard. They're pretty good at dodging.
They're very agile.
It's like they're almost like the pedestrians in Midnight Club LA. Where you can't actually hit them in that game. I don't think, because they
Well, I mean,
programmed that
I
way,
can't
but-
count how many park benches in LA Noire that I've completely cleared, and there's someone
Newspaper
right at
stands.
the end, and they just hop off
Yeah.
and leap around the corner, just agile as ever.
Freaking elves, like.
So, but I can't imagine, like, there must be a bunch of, like, Grand Theft Auto people out there, and maybe even Red Dead, although I think Red Dead people might be more willing to play this. There must be some of those Grand Theft Auto people out there that are just playing this and are just aghast at what they're, having to do, or what they're being tasked with.
or what they're unable to do. Like,
Yeah,
they can't just
exactly.
kill people whenever they
Exactly.
want.
Yeah.
And I think that was definitely an issue when, or not an issue, but it was something that they were bringing up when they were reviewing the game, because they were saying that people who have played other Rockstar games, they're going to be sort of disappointed when they're running around the city and they can't just shoot random pedestrians, and you can't even draw your gun,
Right.
if you're not
a
actively
situation
pursuing someone who is also armed.
Dictates it. Yeah, and I think really essentially what that means is you just have to look at the people who played Grand Theft Auto and ask, why are you playing Grand Theft Auto? And the people who are just out there to...
If the answer is to do a backflip on a motorcycle off the
Right.
top of a building,
Right.
and land on someone,
yeah.
and destroy them.
And if they're still alive, shoot them in the head.
Right.
Right.
Well, and if the player's still alive.
If the player's still alive,
Right.
too, assuming that happens. Yeah, I mean, those are the people that probably LA Noire is not for you.
Yeah.
If you actually beat the campaign in Grand Theft Auto,
Props.
and kind of cared about the story, maybe maybe LA Noire is for you, but yeah, I think they probably lost some of their audience that was like, Rockstar, every game, I'm getting it, it's gonna be awesome,
Exactly.
I mean, Red Dead kind of had, from what I've seen and whatnot, Red Dead had that blend of sort of, campaign and story if you wanted it, and recklessness if you wanted it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like GTA in terms of just where you could go with things.
Yeah, but
suppose.
while that wasn't really a selling factor, while you couldn't just go around and kill people, I think the main selling point was like the graphical quality of the people's the characters' facial animations, and just to sort of move on to that topic. It was sort of this new technology that they have of
Motion scan. or
motion
whatever.
scan, motion
That's the
capturing
big
these
selling
people's
point.
faces.
It really is. It really is.
It looked really, really good, and
Yeah.
it was sort of odd at first to see these people, maybe not portrayed in a more accurate way, but maybe there's that hint of sort of realism and real life accuracy that maybe it wasn't exact, but it was very close.
Well, okay, I hate the phrase uncanny valley. I'm so sick of that. Just dig a 6-foot hole and bury it. I'm sick of it. But it's almost so weird that it's being so accurately portrayed. That's what's so unnerving, is that we're so used to, I wouldn't say poor performances. Generally, with a lot of these games, the main character has motion capture, and there's a lot of attention paid to them. Everyone else beyond that point, whatever, stiff animations and mouth lip syncing issues, across the board. But Rockstar's always been good with lip syncing. They've always been great with, casting their voice acting. So it's really not that much of a surprise that if any studio was going to be up to the task, it was going to be Rockstar.
Mm-hmm.
They'd spent, I think, 5 or 6 years on this technology alone. And I think really what's interesting is that in a lot of ways you have to wonder whether or not LA Noire was kind of a tech demo in a way. They spent so long on this technology, and then they decided, well, we've pretty much got to use it for something. Let's at least get a game out of it and recoup some of these costs that we've incurred over the years.
Perhaps, but I don't know. I think it goes beyond tech demo, and in so much as it actually maybe it was because of the story that it served, and that you actually used the accuracy of that facial animation for purpose in the game, which was interrogating people. But I think in that sense it goes beyond tech demo. Insofar as that you're using it, in order to not only play the game, but also to get more of a grasp on the game world itself.